Hey everybody, it's Josh with UberProAudio News, and we're back. Some of you may have noticed we've been pretty absent over the past couple weeks, and the reason for that is we spent all of our time over the past month launching our audio podcast, which I'm happy to say is available now on iTunes and Stitcher and TuneIn, and I think Podbean as well. Basically, anywhere you can get a podcast, if you type in UberProAudio, our podcast comes up, and we've got some really good ones in there. We spoke to Danko Jones, Noah Gunderson, who's done some work for Sons of Anarchy, Jake Kiley from Strung Out, which as it stands now is our most listened to episode. People really seem to like that. And Spike Slauson from Me First and the Gimme Gimmes I recently spoke with, which was, I think, maybe my personal favorite. And there's one bad one in there. See if you can spot it. But if you could all do me a huge favor, we don't ask really anything of you, but please go and subscribe to our podcast. It's been a big labor of love in our hopes to up the quality and quantity of content that we can deliver to you guys for free, for that matter. So the only thing I will ask of you is to just please go and subscribe to that podcast because it would mean a lot to us in our hearts. Thank you. And now back to your regularly scheduled guitar stuff. Yeah. This week, Epiphone Guitars released the new Faulkner Signature Flying V, and just like all of the signatures that Epiphone has been coming out with, this thing is just loaded. It's got EMGs, got a Floyd Rose, locking nut, Grover tuners, all for around $1,000. And you know, just like the Brett Hines, the Matt Heafy, the Tommy Thayer, the Lee Malia line that's out, Epiphone is really carving a great path for younger players where you're getting a top quality guitar for a relatively affordable price. So big hats off to Epiphone for continuing to push the envelope in what they can do in terms of quality and price, because this thing looks super sexy. I mean, like, look at it. Look how sexy that is. That's affordable, and it's loaded with really good parts. I want it. Do you want it? I want it. I want that. And from EVH this week, they've released the 5153 EL 3450 watt head and matching cab. Man, say that 3 times fast. Whew. Now there isn't too much that's different about this model from its predecessors besides the obvious black and gold colorway, which looks super slick. It is a 3-channel amp. Channels 1 and 2 have independent gain and volume, but do share an EQ, whereas the third has independent EQ. It comes with your effects loop, your MIDI in, a headphone jack, which is awesome for you bedroom players. And yeah, if you haven't played this amp, its 100-watt predecessor, I highly recommend you do so. I've personally had some time on this amp, and I love it. And as a bonus, on our podcast with Jake Kiley, shameless plug from Strung Out, he talks about how he's been using the 5153 for about 5 years now, and he uses it both in studio, solely in studio, and on the road as his only amp. So definitely do yourself a favor and check out EVH. And my last bit of news for you also has to do with the band Strung Out, who we did a podcast with one of their guitar players. Go check it out in the links below. That's my last shameless plug for the podcast, but seriously, it's really good. You should go listen to it, like 7 people have. Anyway, Strung Out released their first tab book for the album Transmission Alpha Delta, and it's available through Sheet Happens. You can get the paperback for $35 or the digital download for $25. And I believe those prices are Canadian, go Canada, so that's probably like $7 American and $5 American. So it's a steal. So hit the link below, go check out Sheet Happens, and get that tab book, especially if you want to be humbled as to how good of a guitar player you may or may not be. Yeah. Now I know I'm super late to the game on this, but I recently discovered the Circle of Tone videos with Owen Gibbons, and specifically the one that caught my eye was the tone profile he did on Stevie Ray Vaughan for Texas Flood. If you hit the link below, this kind of blew my mind in a lot of ways. I'm a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. I've read all the articles about the guitar strings and the piano wire, like all his little tricks that kind of you assume are what he used to establish his tone. And this video contains information that really blew my mind that I wasn't aware of in terms of what amps he was using when he recorded Texas Flood, the placement, the mic placement, how he blended them, how he used the tube screamers. Things like that Owen just killed it in this video. So if you haven't seen it, please, please, please check out the link below and go watch this video. You don't have to be necessarily a blues fan, although you should all be Stevie Ray Vaughan fans in my opinion. Go check it out. He did a great job and did so much research on this for a free video on YouTube. So please smash the subscribe button on his channel and ours, please. I'm just saying. And go check his videos out because he did just a killer job. So cheers to Owen. And that's it for me this week. Thank you for tuning in. And as I said earlier in the video, we are back. We will be doing these going forward again on a weekly basis. We just really wanted to launch the podcast right. So again, I hate asking you guys to do stuff. And if you've made it this far in the video, I truly appreciate it. But please, if you could, hop on iTunes or Stitcher and go subscribe to our podcast because yeah, it's a big labor of love, and I love talking to people, and the more people that listen and get to hear these great stories about people picking up guitars for the first time, it means a lot. So until next week, cheers.